Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Politics. I'm here with Joshua Ford. You are a Massachusetts resident, and
Yep.
you are thinking about taking on what I think is a bit of a Herculean task, taking on Elizabeth Warren. So, in the primary in 2018, I will start with my own thoughts that I'm not personally sold yet on whether I think she should go. I'm kind of torn, so it's good that I'm talking to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you could sell me, I think you have a shot. So
We can
first,
certainly give it a try.
first, just tell me a little bit about yourself and what made you want to take on Warren.
Sure. My name's Josh Ford. I was watching, Bernie Sanders in the presidential primaries against Hillary Clinton, and I watched the DNC just pretty much allow all sorts of corruption to take place. State after state, I seem to witness it, and even happened here in Massachusetts. And I was waiting for Warren or someone in Massachusetts to step up and say, this was wrong. Somebody needs to fix this and, take a stand against the corruption that's going on. And no one did. So I said, you know what, it's time to stop waiting for someone to do it and get involved myself. I've been a Middlesex deputy sheriff for the last 9 years, and, I'm the father of three kids, and I want to make sure that they have the American dream that, we were raised to believe we lived in rather than seems to be the corrupt system we have now. So I'm just trying to make that difference for them.
So, with Warren, I've made my views very clear. I think she, at the core, is progressive, but I think that she's a lot more political than most people had thought going into the campaign. I think she's done a lot of good things, a lot of progressive things, from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to shaming Wall Street executives, to pushing for a new Glass-Steagall. So she definitely, I think, is progressive. But what, in your view, is it only because she didn't show up for Bernie, or are there other things that you think she is kind of progressive on the surface, but not really getting the job done?
Yeah, I really think she's part of like the two-party show. She's just she's doing her part, in the soap opera drama that we witness between the Republicans and the Democrats. And she doesn't really accomplish anything that she's not given permission to do by the powers that be that actually kind of run this government these days. And I just think that if we leave her there and no one challenges her, we're going to end up with her versus Trump possibly in a lesser of two evils kind of situation again. She didn't step up and tell us about the mainstream media, not really telling people the truth anymore and fighting for that. It's one of the reasons I was glad I was able to get on your show because, you get out there and actually talk about what's really happening, and I appreciate that. And, she's got her real estate issues where she made all kinds of money manipulating real estate. She's supported the Patriot Act, too. And, that goes a long way to turning this country into the police state that it kind of is now. You've seen what's happened in North Dakota with the Native Americans and stuff. And I know you were out there, supporting them. And I've been supporting them right along, too, because what's going on in this country it's really unfortunate that, we don't really have a democracy anymore. We have more of a corporate state that seems to have more of a price on the head of everybody, and it's how much can we get out of you, not what the government can do for the people anymore. So I really want to get in there and try and change that.
Now, one thing on the Patriot Act, she wasn't in Congress when that was voted on. So are you just saying after the fact she has shown support for it?
Yeah, yeah. She sure hasn't done anything to try and take it down, and
Yeah.
it's just, unfortunately, a lot of laws have been passed recently. The Telecommunications Act that Bill Clinton passed, allowing all the media to be bought up, that makes it so hard for people to get correct information these days. And I haven't seen her take a stand against that. And there's a lot of changes that need to be done that I don't think she's ever going to do because she's going to put her, like you say, she's very political. She's going to put herself and her own interests ahead of those of the people of Massachusetts and the United States as a whole.
Yeah. Well, what do you say to progressives who might not be happy that she sat it out. Didn't went kind of MIA when she had a great opportunity to endorse Senator Sanders. Frankly, I think if she would have, he probably would have won Massachusetts or made it a lot closer. He only lost by 2 points. Obviously she hasn't done anything other than one statement on the situation in North Dakota. But what do you say to progressives who say, we're not in love with some of those things, but in such a scarcity of actual progressives, there's Bernie, Keith Ellison, Raul Grijalva, Tulsi Gabbard, and then it becomes a little harder. What do you say to people who say, we can't start, arbitrarily gunning for, the Elizabeth Warrens of the world when, there's not a whole sea of progressives to begin with in Congress?
Well, what I've seen is that there are a lot of progressives around the country right now that are coming out of the woodwork in every state, trying to make as big a difference as they can. And I think that, I'm just trying to lead the way and kind of as an example of what a real progressive could do. That puts the interest not of, like you say, it's kind of a Herculean task to do this, but I'm putting the interest of the people ahead of everything else. So, if I get it, it would be an amazing thing. I would be able to help people. And that's what I enjoy doing as a police officer is I like helping people. And so, I have no ulterior motives. I'm not in the pockets of any big businesses or pharmaceuticals. And I'm not saying Warren is, but, I'm sure she's had connections to these people. And so she's kind of has to, go along with whatever they say to help keep her in power. And meanwhile, the only power I'm looking to get is like Bernie Sanders had with the people. I'm looking to have the people back me up. That way, I don't owe anything to anybody, and I can just help the people. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference that I can make in Massachusetts and other progressives around the country that are coming out right now trying to run for Congress and make a difference in things. Or we can do that together. So it's going to be a good thing.
And talk to me about you in particular. You said you were the chair of one of the counties there. You're also a police officer. What's your background, and why do you think it would easily kind of convert to a politician?
Well, I'm a Middlesex deputy sheriff, and I have been for 9 years. So I'm used to being around criminals, so I should do just fine in Congress, It's just something I'm used to talking to people and, doing what I have to put people in their places to make sure that the job gets done. And I think that's by far and away something that Warren can't do. She was silenced in Congress, people just don't want to listen to her anymore there. And I think someone stronger and with, some drive and with the will of the people behind him can really make a big difference. I don't think Warren has that support anymore of the people. When I talk to a lot of Americans from not just Massachusetts, but around the country, they've pretty much lost faith in her. And so I think that's why I really can make a big change if I get elected.
Right. In her, I will say, in her defense, I don't know if it's that people don't want to hear from her. That was kind of Mitch McConnell being a real douchey politician. But anyway, can you kind of talk about just Massachusetts in particular? Because I think a big problem just throughout every elected office is a lot of these folks, including Warren, are not in their states that much, are kind of disconnected from the issues that they're supposed to be representing. What are the struggles in Massachusetts? Because when I think, I have family in Massachusetts. When people think of Massachusetts, you think like, the bastions of liberalism, the Kennedys and, Harvard and all that. But what are the issues in Massachusetts that you think she's not really doing anything about?
Well, I think we need to raise the minimum wage to around $15 an hour. I think a lot of people are just struggling to put food on the table these days. I think she really needed to step up when it comes to the election frauds and tampering, and that hasn't been done. And that's something I'm going to make a big issue of during this election because obviously, with the hurdles I have to climb as it is, I've already spent a year, trying to get attention, get people involved. So to be cheated in the ninth hour is, not acceptable to me, and I certainly don't find it acceptable for the American people. You know, we're supposed to have one, you know, each of us has our voice and our vote, and it's supposed to be heard and counted, and that's not happening, and that needs to change.
And when
Also
you,
like,
oh, go ahead.
I'd also like to see our schools dramatically improved. You know, I think we have to go a long way to doing a better job of educating, and I would like to see, you know, free colleges, education provided, and start to rebuild our infrastructure. You know, we spent 38 billion, I think, we gave to Israel pretty recently, and they have some of the finest water desalination plants around. Meanwhile, here in Massachusetts, you know, the weather's terrible. I mean, across the country, people tell me the weather's a mess, and you can pretty much expect droughts. And it's time to start making changes to deal with climate change and, you know, make sure everyone's got water to drink. Because I know, like in Flint, Michigan, they still don't have water. You know, and I don't want to leave the people in Massachusetts like that.
Mm-hmm. And you know, more optically, so you're kind of a soft-spoken guy. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. Warren obviously has charisma. You know, she goes around the country. She's a good public speaker. She barnstormed, you know, to go from a professor to a senator. She's got whatever it is, you know, as a political speaker. So, are you, you know, strategically, or do you expect that you could feasibly pose a challenge, being that she obviously has what Hillary Clinton didn't, which is charisma. You know, I think a lot of people do think she's authentic. I have my problems with her, but I'm just saying, not just you, but is anyone trying to challenge her have a viable chance?
Absolutely. I think I absolutely have a decent chance at beating her. I have, you know, one of the things when I first got into this race, you know, people were mentioning that, you know, she's well known across the country. So I put it, you know, I've done a lot of work on social media on Facebook, which allowed me to reach people around the country that may have once been for her. And once they realized, you know, there's someone running against her, and, you know, I have some views that, you know, they agree with and stuff, that they started, you know, turning to me rather than going with Elizabeth Warren, because, you know, they just don't have a lot of faith in the system. I think they realize that the two-party system is broken, and she's part of it. Mm-hmm. So until we get some new faces in there, no one's going to be happy, and nothing's going to start running smoothly. So I think just because, you know, we were looking at Trump being the president now. I mean, if he can be the president of the United States, I think any of us have a chance to really get in there and make a difference. So I think it's possible to win, yes.
Right. And lastly, do you think if she were to, you know, remain in the Senate, win re-election, and she was the nominee, would you feel compelled to vote for her, or you think she's just as bad as Trump?
I don't think she's going to do anything to help the American people. You know, I think she's just going to continue that same status quo of problems. And, you know, we keep electing these same people, Republicans and Democrats, and expecting a different result. And that's pretty much the definition of insanity. So I'm hoping it doesn't come down to that. I don't think I'd be voting for her if it came down to that. I would be looking for a third-party candidate that I could vote my conscience for, like I did in the primaries. You know, first I voted for Bernie Sanders, and then I voted for Jill Stein. So I voted my conscience both times, who I thought would actually be the best for this country.
And do you plan as running as a Democrat or third party?
I'm going to run as an independent.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. All right, we'll keep in touch, and I'll keep updating you know, your progress. I'm glad I could give you a platform to get your case out there. Where could people find more about you?
My Facebook page, if you search Joshua Ford Mass, you'll find my political page, and, you know, I've got YouTube videos, and I'm posting quite regularly to try to keep up with, you know, what's going on in the mainstream media, and, you know, what's going on with you guys and the Young Turks, to give people my view on what's going on in this country.
Cool. Thanks, man. Take care.
Thank you, Jordan. Bye.